What's happening, boys and girls? and boys and girls and people that are of different genders or intergenders. No, I was not being joking. I was not making fun of anybody. Just because I'm humorous quite often doesn't mean I'm making fun of anybody. I make fun of myself more than anybody, and anybody that's seen, more than a handful of my videos sure as hell knows that fact. I made a video yesterday, and I said I've been out shooting for 6 hours. And that was true. You could see the sunburn on my face. Yeah, I know, I should have brought sunscreen. Someone called me a numbnuts for not putting sunscreen on. Well, good for you. Doesn't matter what I do, someone's always got to hurl a bunch of insults at me. So I went back out again. I shot for a little over 3 more hours. So I shot 9 hours yesterday. I don't know if people think I just sit behind, because I make so many videos. People must think that I just sit behind this table and make videos, and then the rest of the time I'm sitting on my ass in my underwear eating Cheetos or something. No. I don't even like Cheetos. Anyway, important tip on metering. There was about 60-70% of the shots today that were heavily backlit, and shooting people and things, and it's a bright sun, and also the issue was a lot of the limestone that was surrounding people and things was high reflectance value. What is a super cool trick to be able to grab those shots? Because when you capture the moment, you've either got it or you've missed it. And if you go back, it's like, oh, well, the background's perfectly exposed. It doesn't matter whether you're shooting in aperture priority, puss mode, P mode, or shutter priority. You've been shooting for 30, 40 years, being able to guess the exposure. You're not going to use a light meter on capturing a moment like that. So what do you do when a lot of your stuff, you have to pre-think everything like chess. Now I have my function button, or my preview button, excuse me, set to spot meter. I have that set on all my cameras. You should either have one of your function buttons or your preview buttons set to spot meter. It's okay if you're shooting in matrix metering mode, that's fine. But if I know I'm capturing a moment and look, it has come, boom, it's gone, I missed it, and I want to have the correct exposure, what you need to do is examine the reflectance value of your background. If it's really high, like I had yesterday, where there's a bunch of white limestone, which is, the reflectance value on that was, it was pretty high. I need to set in some exposure compensation. I was actually set to negative 3/4 of a stop, so that would read minus 0.7 on my Nikon, for example. Let me turn on my Nikon. I'm going to dial in 0.7, 3/4 of a stop under. Oh, wait a minute, that's going to make your subject even worse. Yes, but what I do is I know that I actually have a significant dynamic range between many of my subjects and the reflectance value of my background. So I know I'm going to set it for 3/4 of a stop under. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my preview button, and that's going to spot meter the subject that I want, that I can actually capture the moment just like that and have the correct exposure. Now, say for example, I'm shooting somebody in a green field. I still have a strong backlit, and matrix metering is going to be off. I would set negative 1/3 of a stop. On some really, really high reflectance, say someone walking on a beach, I'll go so far as to dial in a stop and 1/3 under, so I don't blow my highlights. And what I'll do is I'll actually spot meter the subject, start taking the shots, and this way you can get almost all the time, if you examine your scenery before you're taking it. Sometimes a moment comes in and you pan over to a different reflectance value. You can take care of that in Lightroom. This is the reason why you're shooting in RAW, hopefully, and not in JPEG. But examine the dynamic range of what is typically going to be between your subject and your background. You should reprogram your Nikon camera, one of these buttons, to spot metering. Okay, you're going to be shooting matrix metering. Well, that's great and fine, but invariably, if you're going to be shooting, something's going to pop up with some strong backlit. Now, why would I want to dial in negative, 3/4 of a stop or negative a stop? Why would I want to do that? Well, I just got done explaining to you. I don't want to blow the highlights. I could get proper exposure on my subject, but if the background is totally washed out and I actually have a halo effect where the dynamic range is far too much between my subject and the background. It's like, well, great, the subject's properly exposed, but any and every bit of detail, if that's what you want, that's fine, but any and every bit of detail after the subject is just blown all to hell. And it's like taking a picture of somebody with a studio strobe with a white background and just blasting the heck out of it. That's a valid compositional choice if that's what you want, but if that's not what you want, you need to understand that I'm going to take a proper spot meter exposure in the moment as the subject comes through, comes by, and then I'm going to underexpose that relative to how extreme the dynamic range is between my subject and my background, so that I know I have the proper exposure when I hit this button, spot meter, boom, subject comes in, click, boom. Now I spot metered the subject, and depending on the dynamic range between my subject and its lighting and the background, like yesterday there was a bunch of limestone with high reflectance value, so the dynamic range between my subject and the background was rather high. So this is why I dialed in -3/4 of a stop on my subject. So my subject is going to be 3/4 of a stop under. Easily take care of that, but I don't blow my highlights. Anyway, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, as the old Southerns say. Europeans don't understand that saying. There's more than one way to skin a cat. It means there's 1,000 different ways, usually, not always, to do something. But that's the fast and quick and easy and dirty way, and quick and dirty is kind of the way I do things. I mean, if it's extremely effective and it's very simple, simplicity is divinity. So do that. But merely spot metering my subject without taking into consideration the dynamic range between my subject and the background, it's like, well, great, you're always going to expose your subject properly, but now the background is just, wow, you just blew the hell out of it. But if that's what you want too, that's fine. As long as the picture that exists within your brain is correctly translated to this camera. So you got a camera here first. This is where the first camera is, and this is the secondary camera. A lot of people think this is the first camera. And all this other, no. The camera is right here. You're supposed to take the camera in your head and make this camera be the slave to the camera up here. Master, slave, okay? Not the other way around. See, one of the key defining features between douchebag photography or amateur photography is that amateur photography is like master, slave. It's like, oh, damn, that ain't the picture I wanted. Oh, damn. Oh, that ain't the picture I wanted. Okay? That is where you have an issue of master versus slave. Professional photography is master, slave. It's like, that's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, you go, girlfriend. That's exactly what I wanted. You know I'm right. There's nobody on earth that's going to deny what I just got done saying. It's undeniable and it's irrefutable. Thank you so much for watching, and lots more tips and tricks coming up. Okay, get you.